I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Today was really difficult, reliving all the horrors.
I am deeply sorry that I did not live up to what was expected of me, and I cannot allow my private failings to disrupt the people's work.
Sexual misconduct has become part of American culture. For actor David Duchovny, it's been a case of real life imitating art. Duchovny plays a sex addict in Californication.
You are one kinky Satan.
He also checked into a rehab facility himself to deal with his own sexual addiction. Reported cases in America are now in the millions. Some estimates suggest 3 to 5% of the American population, including stories of ordinary folks like the Dohertys from San Antonio, Texas.
The whole paradigm of sexual addiction is me. It's about getting what I want, it's very self-centered and self-serving.
Jonathan was the quintessential Christian young man, a Bible study leader at college where he met and began dating his future wife Elaine.
Here was this incredibly virtuous, pure, wouderful woman.
What I liked about him is, like, say on our first date, he prayed before our meal, and I just thought I had found a really godly man.
They married in church just a year later, pledging themselves to keep the marriage bed pure. But Jonathan was already leading a secret life.
Had you any idea or any inkling of what Jonathan was doing secretly?
No, the first year we were married, he came to me and he had said that, you know, he wanted to confess something, and that he had taken like a JCPenney's catalog and masturbated to it. This is how naive I thought I was. I thought, look at what a godly man he is. He is admitting this struggle to me.
What Elaine didn't know was that Jonathan was amassing an entire catalogue of pornography. Like many sex addicts, his newly bought computer would soon propel his obsession.
Is sex addiction an actual condition, or is it more of a phenomenon encouraged by the media?
Absolutely an addiction. We are viewing sex addiction, sex compulsivity, in the same way that we do other addictive disorders like alcoholism, for instance. Of the 70% probably of sex addicts report online pornography as the strongest feature of their addiction.
Looking at images then progressed to sending instant messages to women on chat rooms. And then, as he was flirting with one woman,
2 little words came across: "Want to meet?" And so we decided on a place to meet. I went there and we had sex, and that kind of started a whole other downward spiral of then me starting to use the internet regularly to set up anonymous sexual encounters with people that I'd find online.
Did you ever come back and have sex with your wife as well?
Yeah, I did that. I did that before. I would want to get back in my home and be with my wife to, like, try to erase what just happened.
But his appetite for illicit sex only increased.
I may have an encounter with somebody on a Monday, but boy, by Thursday, I want another encounter. Well, if I couldn't set something up that quickly, the next logical progression was get whatever you can right now. And prostitutes are always available for a price.
Just a year into their marriage, Jonathan's addiction increased the couple's debt to $20,000. Burdened by guilt, drowning in debt, Jonathan was at breaking point.
In fact, I got to a point where I wanted to kill myself. Several times when Elaine was out of the house, I had a loaded gun pointed at my head, wanting to end it, because I just was tired of being this double person.
Are you exaggerating when you say that?
I am not exaggerating. At the minimum 3 times, I sat on the end of my bed with a loaded gun in my hand, trying to think of one reason not to pull the trigger.
He put the gun down and decided to tell his wife.
Can you describe what it felt like when he made his confession to you?
Yeah, that was horrible. I prayed that I would die in my sleep because it hurt so badly. I was so hurt and angry and rejected and humiliated, and I thought I was the big idiot.
Elaine walked out, believing her Christian husband had become possessed by evil. Meanwhile, Jonathan underwent an intensive period of counselling, sold his television and got rid of the computer. It has been a painful recovery, but Jonathan and Elaine eventually restored their marriage. And 6 years ago, they launched Be Broken Ministry, an agency designed to help the growing number of sex addicts find faith and use God to fight their sexual urges.
Guess what? Privately and alone doesn't work in terms of breaking out of a secret sexual addiction.
They host seminars, sharing their own experience as proof that this addiction can be beaten. One of their clients asked us not to identify him as he shared his disturbing story.
The problem that I ran into is the high-risk behavior. I've had some activities that would be considered illegal, that would have grave consequences.
Did you use violence on somebody?
I've never used violence. I have used, we'll say, medicants, alcohol, drugs, to help intoxicate females to have sex. That's the nice way of saying it. The other way of saying it would be rape.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Pure Sex Radio broadcast.
Jonathan also produces a weekly podcast where anything to do with sex is open for discussion. With 30,000 downloads a week, they believe the numbers speak for themselves.
They start going down this path of usually it's going to involve pornography, masturbation, fantasy. These are kind of the building block behaviors of a sexual addiction.
Do you think that the condition is underreported?
Well, there's such a stigma associated with sex addiction and sexual compulsivity. We call it a disease of shame and a disease of secrecy. I think it's more widespread than we know, and I think it is growing at a rate that we can barely keep up with.
We've all seen Wounded Wives, the wife of Elliot Spitzer, Hillary Clinton, for example, often standing by their man. Did you ever imagine that you would be doing the same thing? No.
I don't think most people would look at my relationship and say, oh, good job that you stayed. But now I have seen, we've been back together 9 years, and I've seen a total new man.
Jonathan now recognizes that the key to his recovery has been a new sense of accountability.
How do we know that you're not secretly doing exactly the same thing that you did for 12, 13 years now, even as we're speaking?
Mm-hmm. Why don't you follow me around for a while? Because, I mean, that's actually what I ask people. Because you're right. How can you know that I'm not putting the image on right now, how I'm not presenting?
You're very good at it. You spent your life doing it.
I have at the very least a dozen people every week who are purposely looking in on my life from different angles, whether it be from a work perspective, whether it be from a friendship perspective, whether it be from my church. I just ask people to look in on my life.